Having control over the color and brightness values of your clips is important, especially when dealing with different displays or outputs. Let's go over two effects that can give you control over your brightness values: bright contrast and levels. In this composition are some clips with varying brightness and contrast. Let's trigger a clip. As you may have noticed, the clip is fairly balanced in light and dark areas. Let's use the bright contrast effect to bring more attention to the objects and light. Drag the bright contrast effect from the effects panel onto the clip. If we increase the brightness slider, notice that the clip becomes washed out. And if we do the same to the contrast, the brighter areas are intensified and darker areas darkened. Let's tweak both of these controls to achieve the effect we're going for. First, let's decrease the brightness just a bit to reduce the overall brightness of the clip. Next, increase the contrast. The highlighted areas become brighter, and the overall image looks less subdued. The objects in the clip now stand out. Let's enable the bypass button to see the before and after. This look can be desirable if you're dealing with secondary displays or outputs that have a low contrast ratio, such as some projectors. Or if you're in a mixed lighting situation where your output is being washed out by natural or artificial light. Another way to control light and dark values is by using the levels effect. Let's trigger a high contrast clip. Drag the levels effect onto the clip. This effect is similar to bright contrast, but you're given more control with the base, midpoint, and ratio parameters. Let's drag the values to show how they affect this particular clip. In general, the base parameter will increase or decrease the darker values. Midpoint affects shadows or values in between light and dark. Ratio influences the brighter values of your image. Let's bring out some of the detail lost in the shadows of this clip. Let's increase the midpoint close to 0.75. This will bring up the shadow areas. Next, bring down the base just a little to remove some of the noise. Lastly, we'll bring up the ratio to 0.63 to reintroduce some contrast. If we toggle the bypass on and off, notice that some of the detail from the background is now revealed. The bright contrast and levels effects are tools to help you manage the contrast of your clips or composition. Use whichever suits your needs and be sure to play with the various parameters to gain an understanding of how they affect your content.